The landscape surrounding both Kusanagi Godou and the god Perseus would turn into that of gold, as from the ground a multitude of golden swords, the divine swords of salvation, with the authority to cut through any divine name, reducing any god down to a mortal man, once the origins of that name had been revealed to the light. Perseus readied himself with his bow and arrow, as Godou pointed his blade straight to Perseus. The god I defeated was Verithragna, devoted servant of the sun god Perseus. In the meantime, Perseus would ready himself to attack, as he pulled back the bow to the arrows and began to fire. Now, borrowing the sun god's power, Perseus would say, "With divine protection, I fire this arrow." The first arrow that Perseus fired would multiply into a string of arrows, a multitude of them clashing with the multiple golden swords that Godou had summoned. However, he would protect himself in a shield of the swords as he continued. The source of the light is Verithragna's master, the mighty sun god Mithra. He is not a Persian god alone. He was worshipped by others. The ancient Romans worshipped him in place of Mithras. Persia is east of the Roman Empire, and the sun rises in the east as well. Saying Mithras comes from the east has two distinct meanings. The Romans were also aware of another man who came from the east. That man was Perseus. The Romans thought that the sun god who came from Persia and the great hero were one and the same god, thus birthing a new hero. "So, you can cut through my name's origins," Perseus would say. "I must commend you, Godslayer, for now you have certified yourself as my enemy. You are not the Greek hero you claim to be," Godou would say. "You are the ancient god Mithra, deity of the sun. The power to seal Verithragna comes from Mithra, his former master. And now I sever that radiance." "Foolish king," Perseus would say, "if you truly have that authority, then you deem yourself great, a master over one's soul. Tell me your name so that I may remember it." "I am Kusanagi Godou, the king." Both Perseus and Godou's powers would collide, as Godou would cut through the divine power of Perseus, severing through his bow. However, Perseus was also the god of many other properties, such as the god slayer of serpent and dragon, the god of steel. As he drew out his sword, he would begin to attack against Godou, as the two of them would begin their fight. However, Godou would hold his ground as he swung forth with the sword of salvation, the two blades beginning to clash. "You are a mighty king, Kusanagi Godou. You will not be forgotten in my memory. Tales will be told of this day." "Indeed, but the only thing that will be remembered is the god that fell to my blade." As they would continue their fight, Liliana would try to assist where she could. Perseus could feel that he was now starting to become more desperate, so much so that he had even used the underhanded tactic of taking Liliana for himself, putting her under his control. This only angering Godou further. "Are you that much of a coward that you would take a hold of someone's free will? I am simply the hero who will save the damsel in distress. From the likes of you, You are nothing but a tyrant to use your power, to force others to do your bidding. You are the lowest of lows. You are not worthy of the title of hero. And you? What are you? You are nothing more but a Campione, a king who cannot be controlled. Everyone's told me what a Campione should be. But for me, the Campione will be what I define it as. I am not a king who lords his power over others. I am a protector of the weak and the innocent. For that, I was chosen. I am a champion of the people. I will undo the injustice of the world, whether you be man or God. I am the one who will punish you for your sins and your crimes. All will be atoned here and now. Liliana, Godou would say, snap out of it. Regain your composure. You have told me yourself that you will serve me. Did you not want me to be your master? You made that choice of your own free will. Do not allow this God to strip it from you. Hear me, Liliana. Godou's booming voice would reach Liliana as she found herself snapped from the trance that Perseus had put her under. As she drew her own bow staff, she called upon the blessing of Artemis as she fired true her silver divine arrows. Perseus would cut down a multitude of them in dodging the last one, only for Liliana to use the power of the arrow to curve it back, sending it straight towards Perseus, shooting him in the shoulder and pinning him to a great column, not allowing him to move. Godou would kick the arrow deeper into Perseus' shoulder, keeping him in place, not giving him a moment's chance as he backed away. It's time to end this, Perseus. I call on the authority of the boar. With this power, I call upon destruction to strike down my enemies. Now, go forth, boar deity. The power of the boar would be given to him as the great monstrous deity of the boar, with its flaming tusk, would bear itself into the great column upon Perseus. In a large explosion, it would seem that the god had been vanquished. As Godou turned to Liliana, who rushed towards him, jumping into his arms in an exclamation of victory. From a distance, Savannah would watch on in shock and awe. He didn't think that the next chosen king could have this kind of power. The divine sword of salvation. It truly is impressive. You did it, Godou! You defeated Perseus! I didn't do it alone. I have you to thank, Liliana, for being by my side. Indeed, you were a fine champion. Both Liliana and Godou would turn as Savannah stood in their midst, his black clouds enshrouding him in shadow. That power is indeed great, far too great for a mere child. I think it would be in your best interest to hand it over to me. Do you have no shame? Liliana would say. He has already defeated Perseus. He claims the power of Verathragna. It is not yours. I was not addressing you, child. Stay out of it. This is between me and him. I don't know who you are, Savannah, but I will not hand this power to you. Why? Why exactly do you want it? You said so yourself. You are no king. You do not have what it takes to be a true Campione. I can free you of this burden, the shouldering of all of this responsibility that you bear. There's no need to do it. You have defeated Perseus, and for that I congratulate you. But that power is too great to be left in your hands. And what would you do with the authority of Verathragna? It's simple. I have studied the gods for decades. I have studied the true origins. I know it all. With the ability to cut through their divinative names, reducing them down to mortal men, I could wipe them all out in one fell swoop. And then that would only leave you. For a man that hates the gods, you sure do covet their power. They are the ones that came to us. The gods think themselves superior, but I can assure you they are anything but. For so long, this war between the gods and the Campione, I will bring it to an end by becoming the one true Campione. And I will defeat all others. And once I have done that, I will be able to cut it, Liliana would yell. Do not act as if you are doing this for your own righteous sake. I know why you truly covet the power. And you have been told repeatedly, no matter what you do, you will not be able to bring her back, and you don't know that. The Krenjar family, my own brothers and sisters, they all called me a fool. Why? Because we fight against the gods, but yet we cannot covet their power. Why then? Why can't I? You have always coveted power. You believe that only you and you alone can use it justly. But that is foolish. If she were here, if she saw what you have done, what you've become, she would never, don't bring her into this. I have tried to be diplomatic with you, but I'm no longer asking. Hand over the divine sword of salvation and the authorities of Verathragna, boy, or I will take them from you. Godou would stand in front of Liliana. While still weakened from the fight against Perseus, he held true. He was prepared to fight against Savannah till the very end. Perhaps I was wrong. Perhaps you are just as foolish as Billy was. Do not be so hasty, another voice would say. Savannah did not move as a scythe was held to his neck. The battle is over. Your business here is done, unless you would like for me to be your opponent. Athena, I should have known you'd been here. If you're looking for a fight, I am more than happy to give you one. Savannah knew that it was best to pick his battles wisely. Even in his weakened state, and with his niece still being around. A 3-on-1, while he may have a chance of winning, the loss would be far too great, especially after his clash with Perseus at the same time. Very well then. I'll have no choice but to retreat for now. But our business is not done, Kusanagi Godou. The black clouds would envelop Savannah, as he disappeared into the night. Godou would yell out Shazam as he transformed back into his regular state, collapsing into the arms of Liliana. Liliana knew that using her healing magic would not work, since, as a Campione, his body was resistant to it. There could be another way. It would have to be through lip-to-lip contact, but she was more than willing to do it. But before she even got a chance to, Athena would beat her to the punch, kissing him first to heal his wounds, and then a second time as a reward. "I feel like it's only fitting," Athena would say. "When he awakens, tell him that I will be seeing him again." "I really hope not," Liliana would say to herself, as Athena would disappear as well. In the meantime, Perseus, gravely wounded but still alive, would find himself transported into an alley far away from the battlefield. "That's Campione. He is indeed something else. But still, quite invigorating. I will have to see him again. Unfortunately, you won't get the chance to." Perseus turned to see Savannah standing before him on one side. "I'm afraid this is as far as you go, rogue god." "You? I don't have anything to worry about with you. You can't cut through my name." "No, but he is the least of your problems." Perseus heard another familiar voice behind him. It was Athena. Athena would then transform into her serpent-like state as she sliced and devoured Perseus. "You continue to interfere in my affairs," Athena would say, as she turned back into her more human-like form. "I know when I'm beaten. And while as much as I would love to engage in combat with you, now just simply isn't the time. But there wasn't much that I could have gained from him anyway. Nothing substantial. So allowing you to take your vengeance was only the best course of action. You're wiser than you look. For that, I will give you a reward. The first king will rise at the dawn." "What?" "If you don't believe me, then all you have to do is wait and find out." When? When will he? I have a feeling you know. I wonder how things will play out. Will all other kings be devoured by the first? Only time will tell. Athena would disappear, leaving Savannah stricken with the news. Very well then. It looks like I need to get stronger. Teth Adam. After all this time, he's actually coming back. But it makes no difference. God or king, they will all fall just the same. And then Athena and Godou. I'm coming for you. In the meantime, Godou would be recovering in the hospital, with Liliana watching over him. As the two of them sat in a room together, Erica and Maria would arrive. Maria with a worried look on her face, but Erica with a nice smile. A smile that was followed by her summoning her sword and attempting to jam it right straight through Godou's skull. Thankfully enough, Liliana would block it with her knife. "What the hell are you doing, Erica?" "I knew you'd be able to stop me." "Erica, what are you—" "We've heard about what you've done, Godou," Maria would say. "Congratulations on defeating Perseus." "Thank you." "Godou," Erica would say, "I warned you that you could only have one other mistress." "But I didn't, I mean, I don't have any, I serve as Kusanagi Godou's knight." "Oh, do you now?" "Of course, and I will not allow you to harm my master." "Your master? Since when did you become so bold?" "She's just a knight. Seriously, there's nothing to worry about." "Does that look like the face of someone who's just a knight to you, Godou?" "Huh? I just—" "You only continue to dig your own grave, Godou." After the misunderstanding was cleared up, as best as it could be, everyone would return back to the home of Lucretia the witch, although now she was not in her regular jovial mood. "Welcome home, Kusanagi Godou. Congratulations on your victory against Perseus." "Thank you, Miss Lucretia. I've called you here because it's urgent. We have received some dire news, and you need to be informed of what's coming." "What's coming?" The girls would then explain to them why they had not shown up to help in the fight against Perseus. "Wait, Salvatore Dani did that? And wait, you're saying he has what I have?" "Yes. It seems that he too received the blessing from the great wizard. But I never even knew. When we sparred that one time, I went all out with my power, and he never transformed once. That only goes to show the disparity in your powers. But that's besides the point. He left us with a warning. The first king will soon return." "The first king?" "Yes, Godou," Erica would say seriously. "As you know, you are a champion, a king, chosen by the wizard, Shazam. You know that you are not the first." "Yeah, I know. You've told me that I'm the 10th, right?" "Yes. That means that there were 9 others before you. Of course, you know of the 9th king, Billy Batson. But that would still leave 8 more." "And you're saying that the first is still alive?" "He was banished, but now he is making his return. He will arrive on August 31st. That's a little less than a month's time, yes. The first king. His name was Teth. But now, he is only known as Black Adam." This concludes Campione, Fury of the Gods. What if Kusanagi Godou was Shazam? Season 2, Part 4, the Season 2 finale. As always, when we get to a end of a series for a particular season, I always like to take the time to say thank you to everyone who has been supportive and who has been following along. I know this series isn't the most popular since Campione is one of those, I wouldn't say an underground anime, but it's one of those series that isn't the most readily known or isn't talked about much in live spaces. But I feel like this series is probably the best that could have been combined with a hero like Shazam. I know there are a few others, and looking back with hindsight, I probably could have gone with any of them. But for now, I do think that this would be the best choice. Now, to clear up a little clarifications, first off, this series in particular is going to be a shared universe. That means there are going to be other stories taking place that are also connected to this one. Kind of like what I'm doing with the anime Marvel universe, where I have the Defenderverse, which is my universe for the Defenders team in particular, like the JJK, Miles Morales, and the Ghost Rider High School DxD, and so on and so forth. This is the Justice Society universe. So I can't tell you which other stories are a part of it yet, but I can tell you that the JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, the Dr. Fate, Star of Fate series, that series is in this universe as well. So that means, yes, there will be a crossover between this series and the JoJo series and a few others as well, since I'm going to be building my own Justice Society roster in this universe. So I want you to keep that in mind going forward, that this will be a shared universe for the Justice Society. So look forward to seeing more members be added to the Justice Society in the near future. But as always, thank you for watching this series, for being involved. Like I always say, I can't do it without you. You make the channel grow. You make the core grow. And stay tuned next week as we continue on with our stories in the anime DC Comics universe. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with Power Core Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.